The champagne glass shakes in Elara's hand, scattering bits of rainbow from the $25,000 crystal chandelier above us. The jazz quartet falls silent. All 50 guests, East Coast royalty in Chanel and Tom Ford, freeze mid-sentence, their eyes locked on the projection screen lighting up behind my sister. She stands up on the platform in our parents' living room, her Vera Wang dress shining like new snow. The 6-carat diamond on her finger flashes as she waves toward the dark corner where I'm hiding behind the audio console. "Thank you to my poor sister, Sophia," she says, dripping fake sympathy, "who's always happy to live in the shadows so I can shine." Everyone laughs, that rehearsed, polite kind. My mom's got that pleased little smile. Dad, Victor, nods from the front row. But Ronan Hale, tech billionaire, my sister's fiancé, the guy who's supposed to rocket her into a new tax bracket, doesn't laugh. He drops her hand like it's dirty. He grabs the iPad that runs the house. His fingers slice across the screen, sharp and sure, like he's cutting something open. "Interesting," he says, his voice cold and clean, slicing through the laughter. "Let's see what the data says about who actually owns this house." The slideshow of engagement photos behind Elara blinks out. Suddenly, something else fills the screen. That's the moment my sister's life falls apart. Right there at her own engagement party. But honestly, the real disaster started months ago, not here under a chandelier, but in the dark. The path to this mess began in the suffocating heat of my office, a converted storage closet, barely big enough for a chair and a rack of servers humming like angry hornets. Heat rolled off them, and sweat ran down my temples, even though it was October and freezing outside. On one monitor, a 3D rendering of the oceanfront house rotated slowly, all sharp lines and impossible edges, perched on a cliff like it was floating above the Atlantic. The digital clock said 11:47 p.m. I'd been there since 6 that morning. On my second screen, the one hooked up to a security camera I wasn't supposed to know about, I watched Elara in the main office, the glass-walled, air-conditioned, sunlit room that should have been mine. She scrolled through wedding dress websites, her manicure tapping on her phone. Every few minutes, she laughed at a text from some society friend. She hadn't opened AutoCAD once all day. My phone buzzed. "Elara, again. Need you to revise the wedding invitation design. Ronan says the current font looks cheap. Fix it by morning." The invitation I'd designed. During my lunch break, which she'd taken credit for, I zoomed in on the oceanfront railing detail in the blueprints, the one Ronan specifically asked about last month. The one Elara said was boring tech stuff. I ran the load calculation for the third time, bumping up the laminate thickness way over code, because when you're designing a house for someone else's kids to grow up in, you don't cut corners. Not even if that someone's marrying your sister. Not even if she's stealing credit for every line you draw. The closet door swung open without warning. My father filled the doorway, 6'2", a wall of suit and disapproval. Victor Lang, president of Lang & Company, still in his midnight suit like he's auditioning for a movie. "Working late?" he asked, but it wasn't really a question. "The oceanfront railing calculations," I said. "Good." Hale called earlier. He's worried about the timeline. He stepped in, eating up what little space was left in the closet. Suddenly, I could barely breathe. I reminded him, this firm's never missed a deadline. "Don't make me a liar, Sophia." The training repayment agreement sat between us like a live grenade. 60 grand I supposedly owed the company if I left before 5 years were up. 5 years in this closet, while Elara took credit for my work. 5 years making $40,000 while she raked in $150,000 as lead designer. 3 years and 2 months left on my sentence. "I won't let you down," I said. The words just came out, automatic, like a reflex. "You'd better not. Your sister's wedding depends on this project." He fiddled with his cufflinks. "Cartier, probably worth more than my car." "Elara is building something bigger than you can imagine," he said. "The Hale connection will change everything for this firm. Change our family name. Change Elara." That's what I used to think. The rest of us? Just props, holding up the stage. He left the door open when he walked out. I listened to his footsteps echo away, then looked back at my screen. The oceanfront house spun quietly in the render window. Flawless. Stunning. No one would ever know I made it. My phone buzzed. Elara, again. Also need you to call the caterer tomorrow. Ronan wants a sushi station added. You know what he likes. Of course I did. I'd sat through that endless meeting while he went on about his vision for the house, those floor-to-ceiling windows, so his kids could watch the sunrise over the water. Elara barely looked up from Instagram, just chimed in with a yes, honey, whenever it sounded right. I saved my work and opened my secret folder, hidden 3 layers deep and locked with a password. 80 finished house designs in there. All mine. Each one signed in the corner, Sophia Lang, architect. In this folder, I was real. I almost closed it, but then I noticed the hours logged. 2012. That's 2012 hours of my life, spent quietly building a career no one saw. Stuffed in a closet, while Elara built her empire in the glass office. My cursor hovered over delete. It would have been so easy, just wipe away the evidence. Admit Elara was the architect. Let myself disappear, just another ghost in the machinery. Instead, I made a new folder. Labeled it, Evidence. No clue why. Instinct, I guess. The next morning, the conference room smelled like expensive coffee and Elara's Tom Ford perfume. Ronan Hale sat at the head of the table, his suit probably worth more than I made all year. Tablet open. Elara at his side in a bright white suit, flashing her ring every time she waved her hand. I was tucked in the corner. Technical assistant. That's what the agenda called me. My job? Take notes. Stay quiet unless someone asks. I've been looking at the structural plans, Ronan said, running his finger over the oceanfront railing on his tablet. This deck, this cantilevered section. Is it safe for kids? What's the horizontal load resistance for code? Elara smiled, unbothered. Oh, honey, don't stress about the technical stuff. It looks romantic, and that's the point. Trust me, I've spent months making it perfect. I'm asking about engineering, Ronan said. His voice was calm, but underneath there was steel. What's the load rating? Elara glanced at me, a flicker, nothing more. But I knew the cue. Still, she kept talking. The glass is top of the line. Sophia does all the numbers. Ronan's face tightened, just a bit. I knew that look. I'd seen it my whole life, people quietly disappointed in me. I couldn't take it. I leaned forward. The railing uses triple laminated tempered glass, rated for 500 pounds per linear foot, which is well over crack. Pain shot up my shin. Victor's shoe, sharp and practiced, right into my leg under the table. No bruise, but the message was clear. Shut up. I swallowed the rest. What Sophia means, my father cut in, his hand clamping down on my shoulder, is that all technical specs have been reviewed by our engineering consultant. All certifications available if you need them. Ronan looked between us, weighing something. Send me those certifications by end of day, he said. Of course, Elara chirped, shifting to the next topic. Master bathroom, I'm thinking Calicut marble. The meeting rolled on. My leg throbbed. I typed the notes, which I'd use later to create the certifications Ronan wanted. Elara would send them. Her name at the top. When we finished, Ronan paused by my chair. Sophia, right? I nodded. Didn't trust my voice. You know your building codes, he said, casual, but his eyes were sharp. She's very thorough, Victor said, steering him away. That's why she's on the technical team. Everyone's got a part to play. Ronan glanced back at me before he left. I tried to look busy, hunched over my laptop. Later that night, crammed into my closet-sized office, I opened the evidence folder and dropped in a new file, meeting_notes_10_negative_15.txt. I started typing. Ronan Hale asked about the oceanfront railing specs. Elara froze up, couldn't answer. I stepped in and rattled off the technical details. Victor jabbed my leg under the table, telling me to shut up. I just stared at what I'd written, wondering what exactly I was doing and who I was doing it for. Still, I saved the file and got back to the oceanfront house plans, double-checking every last calculation. Nobody else would ever know I designed it, but I would. And there was no way I'd let my sister's screw-ups end with a kid falling through a bad railing. My phone buzzed. Elara, of course. Wedding emergency. She needed me to call 3 florists and get quotes for peonies. Ronan's favorite, apparently. Deadline, tomorrow. I checked the clock. 1:23 a.m. I started making a list for the morning because that's what ghosts do. We handle things. We stay quiet. At least for now. Time got weird as the deadline crept closer. The calendar on my wall felt like it was taunting me, counting down the days while I tried to keep up. 2 nights before the engagement party, I looked around and realized I'd built a tiny graveyard of instant ramen cups, 4 of them, all stacked up next to my keyboard. I'd eaten every meal in that closet. My forehead was pressed against the spacebar when the AutoCAD autosave ping woke me up. I'd been out for maybe 20 minutes. It was 2:17 a.m. My neck ached as I lifted my head. The door opened. Panic slammed into me. Victor liked to do random checks, just to make sure I wasn't wasting company time. I scrambled, closing the wedding planner spreadsheet, unpaid work for Elara, and pulling up the oceanfront house blueprints. But the smell that filled the room wasn't my dad's cologne. It was something richer, more expensive. Ronan Hale stood in the doorway. Stanford hoodie, jeans, and a fancy insulated delivery bag from Matsuhisa in his hand. He looked confused at first, then shocked. Then something else I couldn't pin down. Sophia? He glanced around at the cramped space, the server racks, the buzzing fluorescent light, no windows, nothing. Where's Elara? My brain stalled. Ronan Hale was standing in my closet office at 2 in the morning, holding takeout from a place where dinner cost more than my weekly grocery bill. She's not here, I managed. He raised his phone. The system alert, he trailed off, putting the pieces together. I thought she was here working on our house. The way he said, our house, hit me in a way I wasn't expecting. Like he really cared about a building that only existed in blueprints and my tired mind. He set the bag down on the only free spot on my desk, right next to my stack of cheap ramen. Sushi, he said absent-mindedly. And truffle fries. Still warm. The contrast stung, truffle fries and specialty sushi beside my cup noodles. He watched my screen. Elara told me you didn't know how to use AutoCAD, he said, voice slow. She said you were just support staff. I didn't answer. Couldn't. Years of keeping my mouth shut just wouldn't let me. Ronan leaned in, eyeing the detailed cross-sections and safety tweaks, the kind he'd asked for months ago. The ones Elara said were impossible. He straightened, pulled out his phone, tapped through something. The edit logs. The system tracks every user's AutoCAD hours, he muttered, scrolling. You've logged 520 hours on this project. He looked up. His eyes were sharp, not angry, colder. Elara's account? 2 hours. Both spent renaming files. Last login was 14 weeks ago. The light buzzed overhead. The server racks hummed along. I waited for everything to fall apart. But Ronan just sat down on the floor, cross-legged, like my closet was some kind of Zen retreat. He opened the bag and pulled out a box of sashimi. When's the last time you ate something not from a microwave? He asked. I hesitated. I don't know. He held the box out to me. Eat. Then tell me what the hell's going on. I should have said no. Should have kept pretending. But I was just so tired, and that tuna belly looked like something out of a jewelry case, and, honestly, the way Ronan looked at me, he already knew everything. So I took the container. First bite, and I nearly cried. She's at Avalon, I whispered. The club downtown. Bottle service with her friends. Ronan's jaw clenched. Well, I thought she was here, working on our house. She does this all the time. I couldn't stop myself. She has me log into her laptop, move the mouse every 20 minutes, so it looks like she's working late. Makes it look like she's putting in the hours. He dragged his hand through his hair. Jesus Christ. What else? I don't know if it was exhaustion or just relief that someone actually wanted to know, but I told him everything. The trap agreement. The stolen trust fund. The unpaid wedding planning. The meeting where Victor kicked me under the table for speaking out. For years designing buildings so Elara could slap her signature in the corner. Ronan just listened. He didn't say anything, but his face kept getting colder. When I finished, he stared at me for a long time. I came here because I thought I was marrying someone who cared about building beautiful things. Someone who gets that architecture isn't just lines on paper, it's about creating spaces for people's lives. He glanced at my blueprints. I thought I was marrying an architect. She's a fraud. He said it flat, like he was diagnosing a broken circuit. And I'm an idiot. Got so caught up in the aesthetics, I didn't even check the source code. He stood up, pulled out his phone. I need you to help me run a forensic audit. Every project file. Every transaction. Every communication log. Can you do that? If Victor finds out, your father's trap agreement isn't worth the paper it's on. My legal team will tear it apart in 48 hours. Free of charge. He looked me in the eye. I'm not marrying a fraud, Sophia. And I'm not letting your family keep you locked up in this closet for another 3 years. Help me gather the evidence, and I'll get you out. Freedom. The word felt strange. Like something from a different language. What's the catch? No catch. Just one thing. I want the truth. Every file. Every gap. Everything they stole from you. Can you do that, or is fear going to stop you? I thought about the evidence folder buried on my hard drive. The meeting notes. Work logs. For years of records I'd kept without knowing why. I can do that, I said. Ronan held out his hand, not for a handshake, for my phone. Give me your number. We'll coordinate through a secure VPN. Nothing they can trace. I handed him my phone. Watched him type in his info. When he gave it back, his contact read, technical consultant. Plain. Smart. 48 hours, he said, heading out. Then we burn it all down. After he left, I just sat there in my tiny closet office, holding a container of $80 sushi, letting myself wonder what freedom would actually feel like. Then I opened the evidence folder and started working. The sun came up on the day before the engagement party, tossing long shadows across my bedroom floor. I was holding a navy dress I bought on clearance for $99. That dress meant 2 weeks of skipped lunches and walking 3 miles each way just to save on gas. But in the mirror, for once, I saw someone who might not always be trapped in a closet. Maybe I could be a guest at my sister's party, not just the help. I was still holding the dress when my mom barged in. No knock, of course. What's that? Lillian Lang demanded. Even in a bathrobe, she looked like she was posing for a magazine ad. It's for tomorrow night. The party. She snatched the dress right out of my hands. Are you trying to outshine your sister? It's navy. It's modest. I just thought you thought wrong. She balled up the dress, tossed it in my trash. From her other hand, she pulled out this shapeless black thing. Honestly, it looked like a janitor's uniform. You're working tech. You wear this. Elara's the queen tomorrow. Your staff. Wear this and stay out of sight. 3 days ago, I would have cried. I would have fished that dress out of the trash and sobbed over the wrinkles. Probably would have hated myself for wanting something as basic as to look decent at a family event. But not now. Not with the USB drive in my pocket, 3 months of forensic evidence tucked away, waiting. Bank statements showing $250,000 in construction materials, all actually spent at Hermes, Louis Vuitton, and the Four Seasons. Server logs proving I designed every building Elara bragged about. Screenshots of her texting her ex. I took the black uniform from my mother, bowed my head. Yes, ma'am. She looked so pleased. Good girl. Remember, Sophia family comes first. Your sister's happiness is what matters. When she left, I fished the navy dress out of the trash, smoothed it out, and hung it in the back of my closet, not for tomorrow, just as a reminder of what I was fighting for. My phone buzzed. Text from the technical consultant. Phase 1 complete. Legal confirmed. The trap agreement breaks state labor law 14 different ways. It's void. Ready for phase 2? I typed back, ready. 3 dots. Then, good, because tomorrow night we're going to redefine what family comes first actually means. Later that afternoon, the VPN connection blinked alive at 4:47 p.m. Elara was at the Ritz Day Spa, getting the full bride experience, $1,000 worth of facials and massages, all charged to the oceanfront construction budget. My parents were at the estate, directing the party setup. I sat alone in the office, with full access to every file on the company server. Ronan's voice crackled in my headset, calm and focused. I'm running a script to cross-reference the oceanfront budget with vendor databases. It'll chew through the data way faster than we can. Start with the materials, I said, launching the algorithm he'd sent. The screen flickered 20%, then 50%, then 100%. A wall of red flags appeared. It was a bloodbath. Jesus, Ronan breathed. She billed $18,000 for imported Italian tile the same day she posted photos at Hermes buying bags. There's more. I highlighted another cluster. The custom lighting fixtures line item? That's her bachelorette weekend in Monaco. How much? $40,000. Christ. He went quiet. She's not just lazy, Sophia. This is embezzlement. This is fraud. I opened the next file. And the next. Each one worse than the last. Construction budgets gutted for luxury. Client deposits shuffled into private accounts. Materials quotes inflated 300%, the extra siphoned away. Why did you stay? Ronan asked suddenly. Why put up with this? I looked at the oceanfront house blueprints on my second monitor, spinning slowly. Because I love these buildings. And because I thought if I just worked hard enough, eventually they'd see me. They'd respect me. That's not how it works with people like them. His voice was gentle but solid. They don't respect hard work. They exploit it. I know that now. Do you? Because tomorrow night, when this all comes out, they'll say awful things. Call you ungrateful, disloyal, a traitor to the family. Are you ready for that? I thought about my mother tossing my dress in the trash. My father's shoe slamming into my shin. Elara texting me about making me work like a dog. Yes, I said. I'm ready. My voice cracked. I'm ready. Good. Because we're not just exposing Elara tomorrow. We're taking down all of them. Victor signed off on those invoices. Your mother witnessed the trap agreement. They're all complicit. I know. And you're okay with that? I closed my eyes. Saw myself at 22, signing the trap agreement while my father smiled and called it protecting the family business. Saw my grandmother's trust fund $60,000 meant for my future, rerouted to buy company shares in Elara's name. For years of my life, invisible in a closet, while they built an empire on my stolen work. Family doesn't trap you in debt, I said. Family doesn't steal your future. Whatever I had with them, it wasn't family. No, Ronan said. It wasn't. We worked through the night, building the final presentation. Every slide hit hard. Every piece of evidence airtight. By 11 p.m., we had something that would make a prosecutor cry tears of joy. Tomorrow night, Ronan said, I need you to do 3 things. Set up the presentation on the projector, but keep it hidden until my signal. Make sure the intercom in the tech booth is live. I want audio of everything. And when it's over, walk out the front door. Don't look back. Can you do that? Yes. Sophia. His voice softened. After tomorrow, everything changes. Are you ready? I kept thinking about that Vermont property I'd been obsessing over, the one with the huge windows, perfect for a studio. I could already picture my name on the sign, Sophia Lang, architect. Truth is, I've been ready for this for 4 years. Let's go build you a new life, I told myself. Half an hour before the first guest showed up, our parents' estate didn't look real anymore. It was all white roses, $15,000 worth. I checked the florist's bill myself, and a $25,000 chandelier throwing rainbows across the marble. 75 guests, all of them in outfits that cost more than my car. And me? I was tucked away in the corner, hidden in the tech booth, headphones on, surrounded by cables and screens. Nobody noticed me. That's the usual. Through the booth's little window, I watched Elara glide through the crowd in her custom Vera Wang dress, white silk, off the shoulder, the kind of dress I'd have to work half a year to afford. 6 carats of diamond on her hand, catching every bit of light. She looked perfect. Like she'd stepped straight out of a magazine. But no one saw what was underneath. She was just wearing a costume over something rotten. I ran a last check. Mic's good. Projector ready. Presentation file, set to go. My hands didn't even shake. I thought they would, but I guess 4 years of bottled-up anger just turns into ice. Then the party hit full swing and the booth door slammed open. Elara stormed in. She looked furious, ugly in a way she usually kept hidden. "There's feedback on the main mic," she snapped. "Fix it." I told her I was working on it. "Work faster." "God, you're useless." She leaned against the door, scrolling her phone, then stopped and smiled at me. A cold, mean smile. "You know what's funny, Sophia? After tomorrow, when I'm Mrs. Hale, I'm firing you. Kicking you out with nothing." She checked her nails, every move casual and cruel. "But I'm keeping your trap contract. Daddy's giving it to me as a wedding present. You'll be my personal assistant to pay off the debt. Or you'll go to jail. Your choice." My hands froze on the keyboard. "Personal assistant?" She grinned wider. "Oh, you'll love it. Picking up my dry cleaning, booking my hair appointments, making sure my coffee's just right. All you're actually good for." She stepped closer, voice down to a whisper. "You'll spend your life in my shadow, where you belong. And if you ever try to take credit for anything, I'll ruin you. Tell everyone you're a jealous, delusional liar who tried to wreck your own sister's happiness." She was so close I could smell her perfume, see that twisted satisfaction in her eyes. "You'll rot in that closet until I'm done with you. Then you'll rot somewhere worse. Because you're nothing, Sophia. You always have been. You always will be." But Elara didn't know three things. The intercom was live, every word was recording, and Ronan, her fiancé, was in the VIP lounge, earpiece in, listening to everything. "Oh, and I stopped being afraid 2 days ago." I looked right at her, straight in the eyes, for the first time in years. "Happy engagement, Elara. Hope you like my gift." She blinked. "What gift?" "You'll see." She glared at me for a second, then scoffed and walked out. I watched her rejoin Ronan on the platform, slipping right back into her perfect bride act. But Ronan? He didn't move closer. He didn't take her hand. His whole face had gone cold, polite, unreadable. My phone buzzed. A text from the tech consultant. Heard every word. "She's done. Stand by for my signal." I put my headphones back on, pulled up the presentation, and waited for the moment everything would flip. Through the booth window, I saw the jazz quartet set up for Elara's toast. Guests circled up, champagne in hand. My parents looked thrilled in the front row. They had no idea what was coming. My finger hovered over the enter key. Showtime. And just like that, we're back at the beginning. Time 0. Elara walking up to the platform like she's ascending a throne. The chandelier above her throws the soft, golden light, makes her look almost otherworldly. Angelic, even. Exactly the vibe she's been working on for nearly 3 decades. She lifts her champagne glass and, just like that, everyone goes quiet. You can feel the hush settle, that prickling sense when you know someone's about to say something big. "Thank you all for coming tonight." Her voice rings out, steady, confident, practiced. "This has been such an incredible journey, and I'm so grateful to share this moment with the people who've supported me." She lets that hang for a beat, then turns toward the darkest corner of the room. My corner. Especially my sister Sophia, who's always been content to stay in the shadows so I can shine. It takes a special kind of person to be satisfied with so little, to never want more than what they're given. "Thank you, Sophia, for being that person." Polite laughter ripples through the crowd, but it's thin, almost sharp around the edges. My mother dabs at her eyes, acting like Elara just delivered a heartfelt tribute instead of a barely disguised slap. Victor sits back, nodding like he's proud. But Ronan? He doesn't join in. He lets go of Elara's hand, and when she tries to grab it again, she just comes up empty. He pulls out his iPad, face set in that unreadable look I bet he uses in boardrooms when the knives are out. "Interesting," he says. Just that, but his voice slices the air, cold and clear. "Let's see what the data says about who really deserves to shine." He glances over at the tech booth, right at me. I hit enter. On my monitor, the feed flips. I know the giant screen behind Elara shows the same thing. Her flawless engagement slideshow, all those glowing, professional shots, the romantic sunsets, the new house, they're gone in a second. Replaced by something else. Slide 1. Work logs. The oceanfront house project. Sophia Lang, 520 hours logged. Elara Lang, 2 hours, last active 14 weeks ago, and only for file renaming. The room goes silent. Not the excited, Waiting silence from before. This is heavier. Dense. That's just technical back-end stuff, Elara blurts out, but her voice cracks. Sophia handles the boring computer work while I focus on the actual design. Ronan swipes. Slide 2. Text messages between Elara and Marcus Vance, September 3rd. Elara, Ronan is boring but loaded. Once we're married, I'm taking his black card and shopping until I drop. Sophia will have to work like a dog so I can relax. Marcus, cold-blooded. I love it. Elara, the best part? I'm making Sophia work as my personal slave after the wedding. She's so pathetic she'll actually do it. The crowd doesn't laugh now. The noise is ugly, shocked, disgusted. You can almost hear Elara's reputation crumbling in real time. She's gone completely white. That's fake, she stammers. Someone doctored those texts. Ronan, honey, you know I would never. Next slide, Ronan says, his voice like ice. Slide 3. Financial records. Oceanfront house construction budget. Material discrepancies everywhere. $18,000 for imported Italian tile, actually Hermes bags, September 15th. $40,000 for custom lighting, actually a Monaco bachelorette trip, October 2nd. $30,000 for architectural consultation, actually spa packages at the Four Seasons, multiple dates. $52,000 for premium hardwood flooring, actually Cartier jewelry, August 30th. Total misappropriated funds, $250,000. Elara's champagne glass slips from her hand and shatters on the marble, scattering light everywhere. I watch her face. She looks hollow, like all the colors draining out. This is her present. I made it just for her. Those were legitimate business expenses, my father cuts in, stepping forward. Victor Lang, president of Lang & Company, those charges were approved. By you, Ronan says, clicking again. Which makes this conspiracy to commit fraud. Slide 4. Authorization signatures. Every fake invoice, every fraudulent charge, every inflated quote, Victor Lang's signature stamped on all of them. This is a misunderstanding, my father insists, but he's gone gray. We can explain the accounting to the IRS? Ronan lifts his phone. Because I've already forwarded these documents to federal investigators. They're very interested in your creative bookkeeping. My mother grabs my father's arm. Elara stands frozen on the platform, her perfect mask cracking under the weight of it all. Ronan reaches up, rips the white rose from his lapel, and tosses it onto the floor between them, a jagged line of petals. Elara, I will not marry a fraud. His voice is flat now, almost clinical. The warmth's gone. Just like that. State law's clear. This ring was a conditional gift. Since the wedding's off and it's your fault, you have to give it back. Now. Ronan's voice is cold as steel. Elara tries to hold it together, but her voice cracks. Actual tears streak down her makeup. Ronan, please. I can explain. Save it for your lawyer. He turns to my father. Victor, I'm suing Lang & Co. for contract fraud, misrepresentation, and embezzlement. I want $2 million in damages. And good luck explaining that missing $250,000 to the IRS. The file's already been sent over. Automatically. When I started this presentation, my dad's face goes from ashy to beet red. You arrogant, you can't just, we have contracts. Protections. Ronan cuts him off. Your contracts are built on fraud. They're trash. His voice could freeze nitrogen. And about those contracts, he looks up into the tech booth. Right at me. Sophia Lang. I bought your so-called agreement from your father. For $1. As of 6 p.m., it's void. I also transferred $260,000 to your account. That's back pay for 520 hours of architectural work at $500 an hour. You're free. The world tilts. $260,000. Free. I can barely process it. Ronan keeps going. And Sophia, I'm offering you lead architect on the oceanfront house project. Your project. Your design. Your name on the blueprints. 50% raise from what this place paid you. Full benefits. Creative control. I stand up in the booth. My hands shake, but not from fear this time. It feels more like waking up after years underwater. I take off my headphones. Across the room, my mother hisses, Sophia. Don't you dare. Family comes first. You owe us. I owe you nothing. My voice comes out strange. Stronger than I remember. You stole my trust fund. You trapped me in debt. You erased me while cashing in on my work. That's not family. That's just using me. I walk out of the booth. Not toward the stage. Toward the front door. If you leave, you're dead to us. Victor snarls. You'll have nothing. No one. You're throwing away your family for my life, I say. Which is more than you ever gave me. Elara tries one last time. Drops to her knees, hands clasped, the ring still sparkling. Sophia, please. We're sisters. I'm sorry, okay? Don't do this. Don't destroy everything we built. Everything I built, I correct, quiet. Which you stole. Goodbye, Elara. I step outside. October air hits my face cold, clean, sharp. Behind me, my mother sobs. My father shouts threats about lawsuits and consequences. Elara screaming that I'm a traitor, that I'm nothing without them. But their voices fade with every step down the driveway. By the time I reach my car, they're almost gone. 18 months later, sunlight pours through my studio's floor-to-ceiling windows, turning the space dreamy. My Vermont land stretches out over snowy hills. No glass walls trapping me. No server racks humming with stress. Just space. Light. Air. A sign outside, Sophia Lang Architects. My name. My firm. My designs. Right now, I'm reviewing blueprints for a sustainable housing project. 3 families who worked for years to afford custom homes. Not a luxury palace like the oceanfront house. But this work matters. My clients cry when they see the renderings. They're building futures, not just monuments to ego. Lila, my assistant, a recent grad, bright and ambitious, sticks her head in. Boss, Hale Group's on the line. They've got a new project. I grin and grab the phone. Ronan, what impossible building do you want me to dream up this time? He laughs, voice warm. We've stayed friends. He sent 6 big clients my way, including a children's hospital. This one needs to feel hopeful, not sterile. I thought of you first. Send me the brief. I'll have concepts for you next week. After we hang up, I walk to the window with real coffee, not the instant stuff. Outside, the world is wide open. I breathe it in. My phone buzzes, another news alert. Lang & Company just went under after the feds closed in. I don't bother clicking. I already know how the story goes. The IRS audit dug up years of fraud, way beyond my family's old tricks. Clients came after them, the lawsuits piled up, and the whole firm crumbled. Last I heard, my parents lost the estate. Now they're renting a tiny apartment in a suburb they used to laugh about. Elara had her moment in the society pages, but that didn't last. The ring went back, the engagement blew up, and now her name's a punchline in architecture circles. A friend told me she's working retail at a mall in New Jersey. She's living in one of those cramped places she once said I deserved. I don't feel some rush of triumph about any of this. Not even a hint of revenge. Mostly, I just feel free. The oceanfront house finally got built. My name sits in the corner of every blueprint, my signature on every structural doc. It snagged 3 design awards. It launched my career in ways hiding ever could not. But honestly, it's not the oceanfront house I'm most proud of. It's this studio I'm standing in. The one I designed from scratch, for myself, every window, every beam, every slant of sunlight exactly where I put it. Here, I'm not sneaking around or carving out borrowed time. I exist, fully, in the open. Lila pops in, portfolio under her arm. The Hartford couple's here for their final walkthrough. She gives me that look, ready? I grab my stack, sketches, renderings, material samples. All my work. My name, my hands, my ideas. Ready, I say. I walk into the conference room. My conference room, in my building, in this life I built. I catch myself in the glass. Navy blue dress, same one I fished out of the trash a year and a half ago. I kept it to remind myself, but honestly, I don't need reminders now. Still, I wear it anyway. Because the woman in this dress isn't hiding anymore. She's the architect of her own new life, and she's not done, not even close.